3 sharp slaps rang out, each one snapping heads towards seat 2A. Flight attendant Karen Maddox loomed over the elegant black woman. Sneering, "Back to coach before I have you thrown out." Phones lifted, murmurs swirled. Selena Monroe didn't rise. She calmly placed a sleek black card on the tray. "Before you make your next move," she said evenly, "ask yourself if you can afford the fallout." The first-class cabin buzzed with whispers after the sting of Karen Maddox's slaps still hung in the air. Passengers stared, some recording, others shaking their heads in disbelief. In seat 2A, Selena Monroe adjusted her blazer, the redness on her cheek fading beneath her calm composure. "Get to the back," Maddox snapped, her voice slicing through the tense silence. "Before I have you dragged out of here." Phones lifted higher. A businessman in 1C muttered into his camera, "Some people will try anything for an upgrade." The elderly woman in 1D leaned toward her husband. "Happens all the time," she whispered. Selena didn't move. Instead, she reached into her blazer, removed the small black card holder, and placed it gently on the tray table. "Before you make your next move," she said evenly, "consider whether you can afford the fallout." Karen smirked. "Security!" she barked into her headset. Passenger in 2A, refusing to comply, 2 uniformed officers boarded moments later. Officer Ramirez, broad-shouldered and stone-faced, looked first at Karen, then at Selena. "Ma'am," he said briskly, "you'll need to gather your belongings and move to your assigned seat in coach." "My assigned seat," Selena replied softly, "is here, 2A, first class, paid in full." She slid her boarding pass toward him. He barely glanced at it. "We can sort this out at the gate," he said. Karen crossed her arms, grinning. "Told you she didn't belong here?" The businessman in 1C chuckled, live streaming the exchange. "This is going viral," he whispered. Selena's phone buzzed. She tapped out 3 quick messages to her assistant, her legal team, and 1 contact listed only as Chairman Direct. Then she placed her phone face down again. "Let's move," Ramirez urged, stepping closer before Selena could answer. The aircraft door swung open. Senior Flight Manager Daniel Hurst stepped in. Crisp uniform radiating authority. "What's the delay?" he asked. Karen straightened. "Passenger in 2A's in the wrong seat. Refuses to move." Hurst's eyes moved to Selena, taking in her composure, the understated elegance of her attire, and the subtle glint of an expensive watch. Something in his expression shifted. Not recognition, but caution. "Boarding pass?" "Please," he said. Selena handed it over. Hurst studied it, then frowned. "Purchased 3 days ago. $29.50. He hesitated. "Ma'am, we've seen sophisticated forgeries before. I'll need to verify with Central." "That's fine," Selena replied calmly. "But before you proceed, I suggest calling your captain to the cabin." Hurst shook his head. "That's unnecessary." "Unwise," Selena corrected. 2 minutes later, Captain Jordan Hale emerged from the cockpit, silver hair gleaming under the cabin lights. His eyes landed on Selena, and in an instant, his posture changed. The authority in his stance melted into something like shock. "Step away from seat 2A, Hale ordered quietly. Ramirez obeyed without hesitation. "What's going on?" Karen demanded. She clouded. Hale snapped. Selena lifted the card from the tray and turned it face up. Gasps rippled through the rows. Monroe Aerospace Holdings. Selena Monroe, Chief Executive Officer and Founder. The businessman in 1C read it aloud for his viewers, his voice faltering mid-sentence. In seconds, the chat exploded. "Monroe Aerospace, they lease planes to half the airlines in the country. That's literally her aircraft she's sitting on." Captain Hale swallowed hard. "Dr. Monroe," he said formally. "I apologize, I had no idea." "Clearly," Selena replied. "This aircraft, tail number N904MH, is under a $2.5 million annual lease from my company, and in the last 10 minutes, your crew has accused me of fraud, attempted to remove me, and assaulted me in front of dozens of witnesses and multiple live streams." Hurst looked pale. Karen's smirk had vanished completely. Selena's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it and smiled faintly. "That was my legal team. They're already compiling every recording, every statement, and every policy violation." Hale rubbed his forehead. "Dr. Monroe, what can we do to resolve this?" "First," Selena said, her voice still even, "your flight attendant is to be removed from this aircraft immediately. Second, your company will initiate an internal review of passenger verification procedures and bias training within 48 hours. And third," she let the pause hang in the air, "your parent company's executive board will receive a full report on this incident by end of day." Karen found her voice. "This is ridiculous." "Anyone could, Miss Maddox," Selena interrupted. "I also happen to be a minority shareholder in your airline's parent company. That gives me board influence. I suggest you stop talking." Silence fell like a curtain. Captain Hale nodded once to Ramirez. "Escort Miss Maddox off the aircraft." As Karen was led away, Selena addressed the cabin. "To those who spoke up, thank you. To those who stayed silent, I hope you'll remember this moment next time you see someone being treated unfairly. Phones stayed up, capturing every word. The businessman in 1C lowered his camera, shame flickering across his face. Dr. Monroe, I owe you an apology. By the time the aircraft finally pushed back from the gate, hashtags with Selena's name were trending nationwide. The story of the black woman nearly thrown off her own plane was spreading like wildfire. 3 months later, the airline had overhauled its bias training, added real-time incident reporting, and faced 2 federal discrimination investigations. Karen Maddox's termination had become public record, and Monroe Aerospace had renewed and expanded its lease agreements, attaching stricter anti-discrimination clauses. Selena never raised her voice. She never had to. The quiet authority she wielded was louder than any shout, and it had changed the system. If this story grabbed you, smash that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories where the underestimated rise and rewrite the rules.